Welcome to the Basic Map Reading and Terrain Features course. In order to read a map, there are a few basic things that we need to cover. In Arma2, they use a grid reference system of 2 letters and 2 numbers. On the bottom and the top, you will find the letters. This is the first part of the grid reference. And on the left and the right, you'll find 2 numbers. This is the second portion of the grid reference. So let's say we're looking for grid square GF20. What we would do is we'd find the GF on the bottom, and then we would find the 20 on the left or the right. So to find the grid square GF20, we would go up and over. And now we've located our grid square. Another important feature on our map is the marginal data box. This can be found in the upper right hand corner of your screen. You'll see that it indicates contour interval, which we'll discuss more in a minute. You'll see that it indicates that the elevation is in meters versus, let's say, yards or feet. It also has a reference for 100 meters. If you take this 100 meter reference and you apply it to the standard grid square in Arma2, you'll see that each grid square is 200 meters by 200 meters square. The squiggly brown lines that you see all over your screen actually do have a purpose. They show topographics. They're called contour lines. If you follow these contour lines, you can see where the contours and changes in the topography are. You can see that a hill curves here, or it goes around here. You can see that the hill is shaped like this. The space between the lines is 5 meters when you look at your contour interval. The space, the further apart it is, it indicates that it takes that amount of distance to change elevation up or down 5 meters. If it's real close together, it indicates it's a steep grade, either up or down. Another feature on this map is this yellow line that runs straight through it. This is nothing more than a road. The map creators decided to use yellow lines as roads. Now you'll also see a lot of point numbers on there. These point numbers actually indicate peak elevations or higher points of elevation. You'll see like the ones noted here, 449, 477, 316, 292, and 440. This indicates that there is a high point of elevation. Let's use 477 for example. You see 477, that indicates that that hilltop there is 477 meters above sea level, using the elevation from our marginal data. The green areas on the map indicate vegetation, forestation, or tree clumps, anything that's large vegetation that can stick out. The brown areas indicate rock formations. A hill is defined very simply as an area of high ground. From a hilltop, the ground slopes down in all directions. The hill is shown on the map by looking for contour lines that form concentric circles, as indicated. The smallest circle on the top is called a hilltop. A cliff is a vertical and or near vertical feature. It is an abrupt change of the land. It can be seen on the map by contour lines that come together very, very close, and in some instances may touch. When you see this on a map, it indicates a cliff. This is what a cliff looks like. A saddle is a dip or low point between 2 areas of higher ground. A saddle is not necessarily the lower ground between 2 hilltops. It may be simply a dip or break along a level ridge crest, for instance. If you are in a saddle, there's high ground in 2 opposite directions and lower ground in the other 2 directions. A saddle is normally represented by contour lines that form kind of an hourglass shape between 2 higher elevations. picture here shows a saddle. A spur is a short, continuous, sloping line of higher ground, normally jutting out from the side of a ridge, as is shown here. The ground slopes down in 3 directions and up in 1 direction. Contour lines on a map depict a spur with the U or V-shaped contour lines pointing away from the higher ground. The picture here shows a spur. Next, we have a draw. A draw is a less developed stream course than a valley. If you're standing in a draw, the ground slopes upward in 3 directions and downward in 1 direction. A draw could be considered the initial formation of a valley. The contour lines depict a draw are U-shaped or V-shaped and point back towards the higher ground. Now, in the video clip you just seen, you saw several great examples of terrain features which we can use to figure out where we are on a map. We saw some man-made features, and we saw some natural features. Let's start with the man-made features. We saw a lighthouse to our south, and we saw a bridge to our southwest. The natural features, we saw 2 hills, one located to our northeast and one located to our east. Now, in order to find out where we are on the map, we draw imaginary lines, so to speak, in our mind between 2 points, and we'll go from there. Let's start by drawing a line from the lighthouse to the hill to the northeast. Now, what we do is we draw another line from the hill to our east to the bridge to the southwest. I'm using the very top of the bridge for mine. Now, where those 2 lines intersect is my actual location. This method is called triangulation. You can use this to find out where you are on a map. Remember, you can use natural and man-made features if they're depicted on the map.